Let's All Laugh at the Sugars Part 2. The Sugars. Half-wits, no, that's putting it too high, really. Quarter-wits, that really do keep on giving us a great hilarity with their so obvious behaviours, lack of constructive consideration of evidence, and slavish devotion to Harry's wife. Occasionally, they manage to pop the odd comment on the channel. They're not particularly numerous, I must tell you. I would suggest less than 1% of all comments that appear on my videos, which shows actually, first of all, that her supporters are not as numerous as one might imagine. They just tend to be quite vociferous. And furthermore, many of them are intimidated to pass comment, quite simply not understanding the material in the first place. Nevertheless, occasionally a comment or three gets through, and it behooves me, as your glorious narrator, to exhibit some of these for your entertainment and further understanding of the mindset of this particular subspecies. Let's examine some more comments of the Sugars. Let us bring forth our first selection of sugary comments, and first up is Lindsay King. Oh, just fuck off. HG, your output is about you making money. Stop with the BS, you twat. Well, to the point at least. Of course, erroneous, my output isn't about just making money. I will freely admit it's a residual benefit for me that I make money out of my hard work and endeavours educating people about narcissism, and why shouldn't I? Don't you, Lindsay, do something that you get paid for? Or perhaps you're a trustafarian, able to ponce off somebody else without having to put in an honest day's labour. The fact is, the reason that I perform this channel is commensurate, of course, with the residual benefits. Part of it enables me to afford control over my audience. Part of it enables me to draw fuel, although, as I've repeatedly pointed out, it's of low potency because the people involved are tertiary sources, and because the amount is in writing, it's low in amount. And therefore, the primary purpose for doing this is not fuel-based. Does it allow me to acquire character traits? Well, there are occasions where I can obtain information which I might find useful, but of course, the major reason that I do it is the residual benefit of the extension of my legacy, because that enables me to deal with the ultimate threat to control that is posed by death. By having a legacy that will live on after my gorgeous meat suit has shuffled off this mortal coil means that I have outmaneuvered that threat to control, and that's the primary purpose. So there you are, Lindsay King. Thank you for the opportunity to explain once again why I am doing this. Linda Girl, what horrible things to say about someone. How do you all know? Right, reports. Well, in part, it does come from reports, but they're so considerable in volume that even you, Linda, should start to think there's so much evidence that's stacking up. Maybe, just maybe, it's correct. But also, it's not about being horrible. It's about explaining. And I explain because I'm an expert in narcissism. And I explain understanding what the dynamic is. I understand why narcissists behave the way that they do, the things that we say, why we act as we do. And I provide all of that information which allows people to make accurate assessments of what they're dealing with. Merry Christmas. You need to analyse yourself, Mr. Tudor. You come across as a total fruitcake with a bizarre obsession with Harry's wife. Even your voice is creepy and sinister sounding. I don't need to analyse myself, Merry Christmas. I know what I am, a narcissistic psychopath, but I warrant you don't know what you are. If you think that I'm a fruitcake, well, I think you're possibly engaging in some projection there. I may be many things, but I'm not mad. Dangerous, yes. I have a particular perspective on the world, agreed. But I'm not a fruitcake. I'm extremely clever and forensic with that. There's no bizarre obsession. It's simply utilising a prominent example which serves an excellent purpose for the prime aims. As for my voice, you might find it creepy and sinister sounding. Many other people do not. But thank you for your contribution. Cindy Mams, all Harry's wife did was prove she was right in that interview. You brainwashed royalists are obsessed with hating her. It's beyond pathetic. Once again, labelling people as haters, although you don't know any of us. Again, the hypocrisy of the sugar. How were we brainwashed? You don't explain. But you appear to be demonstrating that you're brainwashed by a failure to accept the evidence as it's presented to you, Cindy. Killy Kaur. Harry's wife is given H.G. Tudor nearly all his YouTube content. No, it's a fraction of it. The majority of my content exceeds that about Harry's wife by a considerable margin. But hey, you carry on misrepresenting the situation. So surely he must be grateful for her demise. She dead? I hadn't realised that. Also, for all the YouTubers and media news channels, Harry's wife is giving them content, excitement and entertainment. Let's face it, Harry's wife makes the royal family sparkle. If you seriously believe that, then I think the men in white coats are coming for you. She's entertaining. I'll grant you that she is, but not in the way that she intends. Well-spoken? Well, reasonably so. Although, of course, as per the cut, she was asked the journalist to interpret her strange guttural sounds. And very interesting, she is not. The only interesting thing about her is that she's an excellent model for studying narcissism, but she's not interesting of herself. She's downright boring. All other royals are boring. Oh, okay. And what, you just seriously think Prince Andrew's boring? Okay. And Kate is sweet, nice and ordinary. Well, she's certainly sweet, she's very pleasant. Ordinary? Maybe. But she's a decent human being. Harry's wife has us all wanting to know more. Harry Partyboy was once like Harry's wife. What? He was once a woman. And was once a narcissist. Not sure how that stacks up. But anyway, leaving Killicor alongside, look who it is once again. It's Apache 5705. How dare you call Harry's wife filthy, you obnoxious bollocks. I think somebody's getting very upset. Could this be the ignited fury of Harry's wife herself, causing these repeated pop-ups by Apache 5705? Ipomia alba, the food description is evoking hatred. Well, all I can conclude there is that Ipomia has been on the shrooms. Appearing next, Monte Cristo. Twitter analytical service Bot Sentinel analysed 115,000 hate comments. We all know they weren't hate comments. Many of them were just criticism, but we know that Christopher Booze's jaundiced view of the world is such that he denotes them to be hate because it serves his purposes. Towards the Duchess of Sussex, and 70% of the hateful comments came from the same 33 accounts. It's coordinated hate, something Twitter roundly demonstrated was not the case, and orchestrated in a similar manner that extreme hate groups do, to fuel violence towards target. Monte Cristo, once again you've demonstrated the capacity of the sugar to be both stupid and failing to look at the actual evidence. Agnes and Sabuga comes in. Nonsense, racist people. What evidence do you offer for people being racist? None whatsoever. And you know why? Because you can't find any. You just throw the label around because it's easy to do because you're dim-witted and can't think for yourself. Bromwell Cleland. Utter vitriolic crap again. How can you possibly present this bilge? Well, it's not vitriolic. Vitriolic would be shouting and swearing and engaging in ad hominem attacks. It's not. It's an analysis about narcissism with some snark thrown in for good measure to get one through the bilge that one has to read that is often generated by Harry's wife. Anonymous, and the haters gonna hate. Hatred stemming from racism is alive and well in the United Kingdom. Y'all will make up any stories you want to justify your hatred. Pathetic. Once again, no actual evidence offered whatsoever for these projected comments. Hatred stemming from racism, which, of course, isn't identified and doesn't actually occur in this context. Nobody's denying that racism does exist. Of course it does. And it is an unsavoury behaviour, to put it mildly. But other than a few crackpot cases, the vast majority of behaviours towards Harry's wife aren't born of racism, but the lazy blancmange-minded shuggers always have to go there because they have no intellectual argument that they can put forward, and they have no actual evidence on which to sustain their views. Renee Charles, are you sure anyone can? Because it all seems all you guys ever talk about is how much you I think you mean hate, Harry's wife. Again, you're the ones that use the label hate. Very few of the comments talk about hating her, but you ascribe that as hatred. You guys give them too much airtime. Well, quite possibly, but there's so much to comment on, it would be remiss not to utilise those examples. It's baffling how you, the haters, mention them every waking breath. Well, it isn't every waking breath, is it? You're just exaggerating and again tossing around the labels of hater. You complain about people labelling Harry's wife, but once again, Shuggers, you label other people as racists and haters repeatedly. Sandra, a.k.a. Puddin' Pop. How dare you call Harry's wife a narcissist? I can do, and I will do. You're making assumptions. No, I'm not. I'm making observations based upon her behaviour, based upon a ream of evidence, both public and private, and which includes my own personal interactions with her. Harry's wife looks upset. Oh, does she? Poor Harry's wife. You're not in her head, so can't possibly know why. Actually, I can. As a narcissistic psychopath, I know myself inside out and that of my kind, and that's why I'm able to provide these insights. Do you go to a doctor when you're unwell, and the doctor tells you what it is that's wrong with you? Do you immediately go, you're not in my head, you can't possibly know what it is? Of course you fucking don't. You're dealing with an expert, you idiot. And the expert is an expert for a reason. Have some respect. It was his grandmother's funeral. Indeed, why don't you ask Harry's wife to show some respect? I'm sure they're on edge as to their roles and treated very badly, in my opinion, by the people who are supposed to love him. He left to protect his family. He didn't leave the royal family yet. He's been treated on a par with the disgusting Prince Andrew, which is a total insult to Harry. Harry made his bed, he made a choice, and he had to lie in it and put his big boy pants on. With all their airs and graces, it's heirs, not hairs, as with an H. And the royal family are a dysfunctional family. Well, there are dysfunctional aspects of it, I will agree with you about that. With very little loyalty to each other. Just look at the way his mother Diana was treated by them. Harry didn't want history repeating himself, as he said in his own words, and I admire him for doing it. Well, Harry may well have done that, but somebody utilised that against him, and you've fallen for it. Sandra, a.k.a. Puddin' Pop. Now we have Christina Jane Wright, who leads with the traditional squawk of the Shuggers, leave her alone. Just because you are self-confessed narcissist sociopath, no, diagnosed narcissistic psychopath, but please do get it right, that does not give you the right to judge. It does. Nor professionally psychologically. I'm not professionally psychologically analysing this individual. I'm doing it in my capacity as an expert in relation to understanding narcissism. This young mother, Harry's wife, Duchess of Sussex. Your very own self-admitted narcissistic personality disorder, which I presume has been clinically diagnosed. Yes. Obviously you have a severe mental illness. It's not a mental illness to be posting these odious anonymous videos, systematically one after another in such frequent sequence. Well, it does tend to be the case that if something's one after the other, it's a sequence, and it would have frequency. It's not normal. It is. It's educating people, and it's obsessive. No, it's not. Most of my videos aren't about her, but you never bother to look at that, you see. People like you, Christina Jane Wright. What you do is you see a number of videos about her and then immediately jump to a conclusion. But if you actually looked at the totality of the evidence, that there are over 3,400 videos, the vast majority of which are not about Harry's wife, and therefore it isn't something which supports your allegation. Especially since the death of the Queen, I know you better than you think. Just by the timbre of your voice, I can recognise that you are a man of colour yourself. Okay, so if I am a man of colour, why is it that your sugary colleagues accuse me of being a racist? I consider you and your hatred of Harry's wife, I don't hate her. Point to where I actually say that I hate her. Point to words that denote hatred. You won't be able to. But once again, the absence of evidence is not something that Shuggers allow to get in the way, is it? Harry's wife a real threat to her. I may well be a threat to her in exposing what she is, which is fair game, isn't it? Do you not think people ought to know about the behaviours of this woman? The fact that she's got 2 children, the impact that it might have upon her. If you, Christina Jane Wright, believe that you care so much, why don't you actually examine her behaviours and see how the evidence points to what she is, and then think what ought to be done about it? I personally know narcissistic sociopaths and the destruction that you reap in all the lives of those who love or once loved you. Well, indeed, and that's something that I repeatedly speak about. I don't hide it. You are pitiless creatures on this earth. I'm not afraid of you. I think you would be afraid if you were to ever meet me, Christina Jane Wright. I guarantee that you'd be frightened. And I know that nothing would change your personality disorder. You're correct. You're all poisonous vampires, only out to get your attention fix. Then discard. Not quite correct. Keep listening to my work, and then you'll understand it better. Obviously, you're getting fuel on this forum, at least you've used the terminology correctly, by continuing these awful videos. These awful videos that many people actually find very useful. You see, the thing is, Christina Jane, right? There are many people that comment and write to me in the emails explaining that they did not know about narcissism until they came across a series involving Harry's wife, and it's helped them realise that they're in a relationship with a narcissist. It's disgraceful that YouTube is allowing you to continue. No, it's not actually. Especially as you're posting incessantly. Yes, I would say obsessively about Harry's wife, Duchess of Sussex, enjoying spreading your poisonous unfounded views. How are they unfounded? They're based upon expertise and based upon evidence. They're completely founded. To hurt and damage the reputation and life of a young family? Not at all. Not at all. The only person that's damaging her reputation is herself, for reasons I've explained. It's disgusting, HG. Your ignorance is disgusting. Crawl back into your hole. I don't live in a hole. And I, for one, should be reporting you to the YouTube management, and the UK and USA security forces. It's totally unacceptable that you are not only defaming an innocent woman, but also profiting financially from it. Well, thank you very much for your complaints. They created absolutely fucking nothing. Andrea Kelly with the squawk of the Shuggers, leave her alone. Olivia Montague with the squawk of the Shuggers, you are sick, leave the woman alone. CH, this is weird. A whole channel dedicated to Harry's wife. No, it's not. Again, go and look at the evidence, you dimwit, and you'll see it's about narcissism. People that hate you will find a way to make sure you stay relevant. Joshua Campabamba plots up. So what has Harry's wife done we there? No, she's just really intimidated all of you. Love you, Meg. She hasn't intimidated anybody. Thank you. Well, certainly not anybody that watches this channel. Joshua Campabambo, again, this channel is clearly... Oh, you become so boring with these trite and meaningless observations. Now we see Nebula Nigrim Leonis. Wow, HG, not spending your day bashing Harry's wife. But hang on a second. Apparently I'm obsessed and I make incessant videos and profiting from targeted humiliation of others. It's rare to see a YouTube channel about abuse and triangulation, while a person is bullying, abusing, and triangulating for profit. Nobody's being bullied. Nobody's being abused. Is there triangulation? Well, yes, there is, because I'm talking about Harry's wife to my audience, so you're correct about that point. Jim Comney, what a mean-spirited, nasty man you are. You saw all that with those few photos, SMH. Few words there from my agent. I wondered when he might pop up. Mary Bolden for Love Truth. People can hate the Duchess of Sussex, Harry's wife, all they want for whatever reasons. Still doesn't diminish the fact that the ideology of human supremacy runs amok around the globe. Did you claim to be a narcissist yourself? No, I didn't claim it. I am. Anyone who's listening to you should think more than twice. Writer Toni Morrison was right about many things. Hashtag Rivers of Blood speech. Hashtag Enoch Powell. You seem, with what you've written there, Mary Bolden, to have repeated yourself, or you don't actually understand what Enoch Powell spoke about, which wouldn't surprise me, given how dim-witted you all are. And there we are, my valuable viewers, an opportunity to laugh at the ridiculousness of the comments that are put forward by the Shuggers once again. Deluded, devoid of understanding the evidence, and on their own personal rants, they really are a hilarious bunch. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.